Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
This is my wife's analogy. Okay, not mine. Chocolate comes from cocoa, which is a tree. Now, that makes it a plant, which means chocolate is a salad. Enjoy. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America on Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, we need it. God bless America. Good morning on a Thursday. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, again, the key word, service. They do a great job. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers, which include Western Way Services, always at your disposal, locally owned and operated. And Kelly and the crew can get rid of your garbage. You give them a call at 734-6969. Oh, the lovely lady across the river and through the woods. And hello, Gina.
Well, good morning, sunshine.
Yeah. How do you like chocolate?
I love chocolate.
Do you?
Yeah. And
milk chocolate or the dark chocolate?
It depends. I do like dark chocolate sometimes, especially if it's got like a little bit of a kick. It's got like maybe some cayenne pepper in it. A little bit on the spicy side. It's really good. But I like chocolate, and I like chocolate caramels.
Oh, my.
That is my kind of salad.
I'm not really a chocolate freak like some people. Deanne, absolutely. If she sees a chocolate cream pie or a chocolate brownie or something like that, I mean, she'll stop traffic on Blue Lakes to go pick up a crumb if there was one laying there. And I just absolutely, but boy, I'll tell you what, a lot of people are chocolate lovers.
A lot of people are chocolate lovers, which, by the way, just so you know, and I'll send you guys this information, there's a fundraiser coming up at the end of the month, Death by Chocolate.
Yeah, and next month, which is just virtually not that far away, Valentine's Day.
So you better get her a big old bag of chocolate.
I will do it. I'll get her a great big, well, not an Easter bunny because that's not till April, but I'll get her a great big heart filled with chocolate.
Aww.
Yep. Hey, do we have a pledger?
We have someone special on for the pledge. We've got Randy Wynn, and then we've got Michael Rogers on for the wedding.
Now, before we put Randy on the phone, can I just say something as kind of a preemptive force against him? I know his purpose for wanting to do the pledge this morning, and I'm going to allow it with my teeth clenched. Good morning, Randall.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, go ahead. Nail me. Go ahead.
No, we just got a bet on the air. You still owe me a steak dinner, so I figured we'd go double or nothing on Sunday's game.
I got a better idea. Why don't I just buy you the doggone restaurant?
So I'll tell you, Zeb, I was just thinking, I was in Vancouver, British Columbia on Thursday, and I was in Portland on Friday and Seattle on Saturday. I've never seen anything like it. The airports are covered in Seahawk colors. All the employees and passengers are in Seahawk colors. The airlines are handing out Seahawk stickers. It's unbelievable. It's passion for the Seahawks up in that area.
You're going to get yours.
It's like Christmas for me.
You're going to get yours when all of a sudden it turns around and they go play a championship game some year in Green Bay, and I'm going to sit back and roll my eyes. God bless you.
They came out with the home and away teams for next year, and the Seahawks go to Green Bay next year, so you can have some revenge next year.
Oh, going to get it, I'll tell you what. But we do have double or nothing on steak dinners. Randy, over at Tires West, God bless you, man. Have a great weekend. Thank you. All right, sir. We better get to the weather. And the weather brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Oh, my goodness sakes. They're open now Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturdays 10 to 4. And you need to check out all the Valentine decorations they got over there. Oh, what a nice store. And really knowledgeable people at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Right now, here's Michael Rogers' weather.
24 degrees right now. Good morning, everybody. You got some weather stuff happening for tomorrow, so what's going to happen for today? I have a nasty habit of doing that. I always tell you the weather for tomorrow before I tell you what the weather is for today. Why is that? I don't know. It's just one of those things. That fog will not go away. I'm sorry. It just will not skedaddle out of here. It's going to be hanging around. Patchy dense fog, 33 for the high. 27 for the overnight low. It'll be mostly cloudy. Then you got rain and snow for tomorrow. Yes, you do. Rain and snow. Probably start off with snow, change over to rain, or vice versa, but you got it, and it's going to take place for tomorrow and also for tomorrow night. Now, you get a break on Saturday. And the beauty of the break on Saturday is not only is it going to be sunny, you got a high of 40. You're going to stay in the 40s going all the way into next week. The bad news is it's going to be raining Sunday night, and Monday. So let's see, what are we going to sacrifice here? We'll sacrifice warmer weather for rain versus cooler weather and dense fog. What do you think? Thought so. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael, good forecast. Thank you very much. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door. And don't forget, they've got a lot of newly refurbished furniture, too, at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Holy smokes, today is sale day at Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Merv, come on in here.
All right, you get set of steer calves there. Here to get all of 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5.
That's the chant of the world's best doggone auctioneer, Merv May, over at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-9411. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy. And I'll tell you what, sale time at 10 a.m. I'll give you a partial list of some of the consigners coming in. We've got Carl and Earl Clayville of Rupert. Hello, Clayville family. 100 head of 5 to 600 pound calves. Jed Heaton out of Stanrod. You bet. Semi-load of 500 pounders. Whitnall Ranches over at American Falls, 90 head of calves. Jack Brown over at Tremont, know that man. Semi-load of cows coming in. Barry Dalton at Shoshone, 40 head of 750 pound Holstein steers. Jim Ritter over to Shoshone, bringing in 30 head of yearlings. Ida Gold Farms in Burley, bringing in 30 head of really nice calvy cows. Don't miss those. And Muncie Livestock, know those folks right here in the Murtaugh area. 25 head of butcher cows. Back up, Zeb. 25 head of butcher bulls and 100 head of butcher cows. Don't miss that. And Cress Hughes over at Filer with the big arena. 30 head of 350-pound calves. And Lucky Born. My goodness, Lucky. You're going to hit the gold mine today. Over in Rupert, 25 head of 5 to 600-pound calves. All of this and more at the Burley Livestock Sale today at 11 o'clock, 1100 Occidental Avenue. Don't miss it. Merv, sell those cattle.
All right, you get set of steer calves there. Here to get all of 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, and I sell them $1.35. Zeb Bell gets bottom.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I wished I had a whole truckload right now to sell. Man, the prices are good, and I really feel good for those guys making a little money right now. It's about time. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to get this in real quick before I forget, because sometimes my mind gets scattered and like chaff in the wind. There's going to be a big breakfast this Saturday at the Golden Heritage Senior Center on Overland, and the the public is invited to come by and just enjoy a great breakfast for only $5. Now, I believe what happened was they left me a message, and then all of a sudden they cut off. And not their fault. My phone has been not acting properly. I believe it's going to start at 7 a.m., so everybody get down. If you're there early, have a cup of coffee. Anyway, big breakfast at the Golden Heritage Senior Center on Overland, only $5 this weekend. Going to be good. By the way, had some people call me yesterday and they said, what were you talking about over at Valley White Home and Ranch with all their fishing needs? And I said, yeah, no kidding. You got to stop over and see Mandy and Sean and the whole crew. And if you tell them that you heard that ad on the program, Zeb Bell program, they will give you a 10% off card that's good for the rest of the year on fishing equipment. You just go in and save 10% anytime you need line or more lures, or in my case, leaders and hooks and everything else. Well, holy cow. All your fishing and hunting licenses are there. Everything's there at Valley White Home and Ranch. And all your cold winter needs too. We're not done with winter by a long shot. Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Really, really nice people. Oh, when you underline the words nice people, you have got to talk about Ramsey Heating and Electric. They have been with me on this program since the very beginning, and God bless them, and I mean that. They are wonderful people. And they're located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. That number again, 678-0459. And whatever you need electrical, and especially if you need some new furnace filters. Now is the time. Your furnace has been working hard, trying to keep your toesies warm. Well, stop in and get a package of quality air filters. Quality, the key word, at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Okay. I want everybody to just stop for a minute, if you would. And if you're driving, just kind of chew on this a little bit. Keep both hands on the wheel. Why are we so absolutely, as civilized people, shooting ourselves in the foot? Why are we absolutely doing things like we're going back to the Stone Age? I'll give you a couple examples, and I'm really worried about society. A young Ohio young man, 20 years of age, converts to Islam. Oh, yeah. Now, I'm going to call it like it is. He converted to Islam. Oh, remember, it's so peaceful. And he makes plans, with the help, I'm sure, of somebody that's still anonymous, to blow up our capital, our nation's capital, and arm himself with weapons and sit outside and shoot people as they run down the steps to get away. Yeah, that's really warm, fuzzy, and peaceful. The father was interviewed about his son, and the dad says, I didn't have a clue that his son was being radicalized to kill, maim, and destroy. And this 20-year-old's still living at home with his brother. They're still living at home, and the dad says, oh, well, we just figured it was too hard on him to go out in the world and try to make a living. Kick the kids out. Maybe they'll learn to appreciate and respect what their talents are or aren't. And that's one horrific story. Then I saw something last night, and I have debated about even talking about this on the air this morning. But I saw something last night, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Go ahead and laugh at me if you will. But it brought tears to my eyes, and I sat there and I thought, Lord, please help us. There was an astonishing, I can't think of another word, video that was released from ISIS. And allegedly on this video, and again I want to use the word allegedly because I'm hoping beyond hope that it was phony. I'm hoping it wasn't real. But on this video, allegedly, it shows a 10-year-old boy. 10 years old! Going up behind two captives and blowing their brains out. And then when they rolled on the ground, he shot both of them repeatedly a number of times. A 10-year-old boy. Our society is absolutely in the toilet. You know, a Muslim cleric this morning said that ISIS probably has access to chemical weapons and, quote unquote, can't wait to use them to kill and destroy. These aren't Baptists, Lutherans, or Mormons I'm telling you about. These are Muslims. They can't wait to kill and destroy. How about the woman that was an accomplice to the Kawachi brothers over in France? Now they found out that she had rented a house. You're saying to yourself, big deal, a lot of people rent houses. Yeah, but a lot of people do not stock them with just absolutely oversupply of weapons and ammunition, etc., to kill more people. Oh, I keep forgetting. Yeah, they belong to a religion of peace. Yeah, I forgot. And here locally, our society's falling apart. I mean, my goodness, is it going to come down to the point where employers are going to have to pay hazardous duty pay to people that work at gas and go businesses? Because they're subjected to robberies and people holding them up and people holding them at gunpoint, people stealing their keys to take their cars. I mean, what in the world is going on? We're falling apart like a cheap suit. And don't tell me we're not. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I'd sure like to hear your thoughts on it, but I mean, man, all over the world, we're crazy. We've got so much and we've been blessed with so much. But yet, everybody has this leaning towards power and kill and maim and destroy. 436-2244-1866-927-4587. I'm just at a loss. I listened last night about these Kawachi brothers, and I watched some of the unreleased before last evening video of what went down when they went into the magazine Charlie Hebdo and killed everyone, and then they left and they killed the police, and they just absolutely trained killers that did not care if they lived or died. They were on a mission to kill. Give me a call, 436-2244. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. Definitely the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. And we're going to be over there next Thursday on the 22nd. And we hope you're there too. They've got 2 locations right now, and absolutely phenomenal. One at 611 Overland in Burley, and the other at 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. I have eaten at both. They're both absolutely outstanding, wonderful people, creating the best in service, and that menu will knock your socks off. It is great. I love breakfast, and they've got the best of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, everything. So please stop in and see them today, and treat your neighbor. Maybe take a family member that hasn't been out for a while. Really enjoy Denny's Restaurants in Twin Falls and Burley. Go and give me a call. 436-2244-1866-927-4587. I'm really surprised. Maybe you don't agree. Maybe you don't agree. But you know, I'd really welcome even hearing from like pastors of various churches, etc. We're going, you know where, in the handbasket, because society just doesn't seem to care anymore. We're regressing, in my opinion, to centuries ago activity of just mass mayhem. Why? Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. With Eli, Nick, and the whole crew, and 3 locations to serve you. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And they've got all the equipment to get any and all jobs done right. Absolutely. Retail equipment sales, equipment rentals, parts and service, all of it. They've got the big Doosan loaders. They've got everything. The Bobcats. They got the equipment for you at Barry Equipment and Rental. We're going to be talking to them later on this morning. Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Got a good question for you now. When these people from ISIS and the Taliban kill all the Christians, then who are they going to kill?
Well, they've always had a lot of infighting, but their main goal is to get rid of the infidels. And you know what? I just think, Dow, honestly, and this is a free speech country, and I'm going to say it like it is. I think with the leadership we have right now, they're on a fast track to try to accomplish their very heinous deeds.
Well, I agree with you 100%. But it looks to me that they're going to be so kill crazy, they're just going to go right on and kill themselves.
It's nuts. Thanks, Dal. God bless you. I appreciate your call.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. I'll tell you, one of the reasons we have this problem, we take away capital punishment. People aren't afraid to do something wrong. They're not scared.
I would add, Jeff, let me add a word to that, okay? And I'm not trying to be picky, but I think you'll agree with me. Expedient capital punishment.
Yep, I agree. On top of that, you got the 3 P's. Piss poor parenting.
Yeah.
People are getting away with stuff. They don't get, a kid needs to be spanked now and then. You're doing something wrong, you got to get on them. You got to teach them that there are guidelines, that there are limitations and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Let me ask you something right there.
One more thing is, you got to close that border down.
Yeah.
People are getting desperate. They can't find jobs, but yet we're giving them to people from outside of the country.
Absolutely.
People need to be able to have a job. They got to get a job, and we can't keep paying them for sitting on their butts.
You want to be sure and be listening at 10:30 this morning, Kilt Man. I've got Professor Richard Kelsey from George Mason University coming on the program to talk about our free speech and what's happened to it. And it really addresses a lot of what we're talking about right here. But now, quickly, I've got a break, but I want to ask you one quick question. You've got children. I met one of your sons the other day, and what a nice man. How in the world can a parent, and I'm still scratching my head on this one, how can a parent have a 20-year-old son living in the house and not realize, with the Muslim beard, not realize that this young man has been radicalized and has converted over to Islam?
Well, it's a parent, it goes back to the 3 P's.
Yep.
The piss poor parenting. I mean, there's no way that a kid of that stature that they don't know about it. And I really think that parent needs to be held accountable as well. Because if he's living in his home and stuff like that, he should have known that something was going on. He should have been asking. He should have been prying. If he cared, he would have been prying. He would have been asking about these questions and finding out what's happening. But if he didn't care, he's letting him do his thing, then you walk away.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
I can't agree with you more. As a matter of fact, I know that there are those out in the audience, we can't spank Johnny. Well, that's not Dr. Spockish approved. I don't care about Dr. Spock. I care about right and wrong, and I'll guarantee you one thing, Jeff. The way this world is...
You go back to school, and you and I were at school and stuff like that, okay? If you did something wrong, you got punished.
Absolutely.
If you did something wrong, your parents were called in. Certain situations, stuff like that. And your parents did something. There were consequences to these situations.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, there are not.
Always appreciate your call. Hope the arm's healing up okay, buddy. Stay tuned. Thank you much, Kilt, man. God bless you, man.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Bye.
He's spot on. I agree with him. I agree. This lenient parenting. Oh, well, we can't do that to Johnny. It might. Why? If we spank him or tell him no, it might damage his psyche. Look at his psyche now. Tell that to this man, this father in Ohio, that probably will not see his son again for the rest of his life other than visitation on Sunday afternoons at the prison, the federal prison, between 2 and 4 in the afternoon, because his son converted, to a peaceful religion and was radicalized. Well, all he wanted to do was just blow up the nation's capital and then shoot people. What the hell is the matter with us? Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Don't forget, excellent customer service, superior customer service, and always protecting the resources, an employee-owned company that really wants to work for you. Don't forget, they carry trailer parts too. A lot of people don't know that. And they sell brand new steel too, angle, flat, tubing, channel, whatever you need at Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Here now, the Capital Press Ag Minute.
The Capital Press Ag Minute is brought to you by OnlyAg.com.
Idaho's fast-growing wine industry had a $169.3 million impact on the state's economy in 2013, according to a new study. The Economic Impact Study also found that the industry was responsible for 1,226 jobs. The report by Stonebridge Research Group, a wine industry consultant based in Napa, California, said the impact would have been greater if a January frost had not reduced wine grape yields by 30% that year. According to the study, 50 Idaho wineries in 2013 produced 214,140 cases of wine. Idaho Wine Commission officials say the study will give Idaho wine industry some real credence amongst government officials and people outside of the state as well.
To receive instant, exclusive, unlimited access to the West Agricultural News Source, register your account today at CapitalPress.com.
Thank you very much. Brought to you by Pacific Steel and Recycling. Wonderful people. Adam, Josh, the whole crew. 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Really, what is the matter with us? Society. What is going on? Everybody wants to hurt everybody else. Everybody wants to blow up everybody else. And particularly all the circumstances where the Middle Eastern countries are mad at the infidels, you and me, and they want to kill us and blow us up. In the name of, and boy, Obama, I hope you can listen this morning. Tune it in on ZebBell.com. In the name of Islam. Like I said, they're not Baptists, Lutherans, Catholics, or Mormons. And when you've got two guys that have just gone in and blatantly killed 14 people laying on the floor of a magazine editor's office, and they step outside and they say they're avenging it, they're avenging Muhammad, and that's why they killed these people. They didn't step outside and say we're avenging in the name of Sears and Roebuck. I am just absolutely at the end of my rope wondering what in the world is it going to take for people to realize we've got some major problems and they've got to be corrected. You can't keep living like this. You can't worry about that cleric over in the Middle East that said and looked right into a news camera and said, well, ISIS probably has now chemical weapons and they can't wait for the right circumstances to use them around the globe and kill people. My gosh. The enormity of how this problem is growing like a cancer, and people sit back and don't say anything. People sit back and don't do anything. People don't demand the best of their leaders. For instance, For instance, and yeah, I'm on a soapbox. You want to join me? Talk to me. Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, he called it like it is. He said, Obama's refusal to say radical Islam is a signal of cowardice and weakness. It is. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Jeb.
Are you going to... wait a minute. Do you agree or disagree with me right up on top?
Well, I agree with you because we've got to put a stop to it. But
Amen.
The first thing we got to do is tell these judges and these so-called people, when the police work their butts off to bring a felon in that's been caught and supposed to be convicted, and then they're released on a prosecution motion.
Yeah.
Now, that's the trouble right there. There's too much of this old crap. Well, I'm too tired to do this. I'll just release him. And that's why they're all back on the fields again.
But, Al, the attitude of human beings today to other human beings, I mean, look at it. You're older than I am, but not by much. But you've served in the military. You've seen life change over your years here on Earth. And, my gosh, we're regressing instead of getting better as people.
I know it. And it's, I don't know how we're going to stop it because you keep letting them come in here from over there, and you never check them out about what's their record like for sex offenders and stuff like that. Hell no, just come on in, everything's fine. Then they do get caught over here, take them up in front of a judge, and he turns them loose.
Yeah, and Frosty Woolridge and I have taken a lot of heat over the years. You know that. I've confided in you and told you. But over the years. But, you know, Frosty's been right. Now more than ever before, we need to, A, shut down our borders. B, make sure we know who these people are that are coming into this country. You know, we don't know, and this government doesn't care because they're buying votes.
And then to show how America is supposed to be one of the leaders in this, they have this big deal over there, that convention or whatever it is, for all the nations to get together. And guess what? We don't have the guts to show up with one attorney general at all.
Yeah, he was just down the street.
Real big, gosh darn government that we just got to shut it down.
Okay, I'll give you a for instance. Have you heard anything about Mike Simpson on this program? No, he won't call me anymore because he's mad over my chewing him out over the stand on Muslims. Oh, gee, what a great politician. He's cowardly and won't call my program.
Well,
I'm telling you, I am so sick and tired of people with no guts. Now, we've got some great legislators here in the state of Idaho. We do. And I don't even have to ask them. They put things together for me every week. And that's Scott Bedke, the Speaker of the House, and Dean Cameron, and, of course, Representative Fred Wood. And when he was in office, Bert Stevenson, I'm sorry. But, you know, they always work. But on a national level, it seems like once they get back on the Potomac, they don't care about what their constituents want or caring about our country.
I know it. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. And another thing is they've got to stop this damn infighting. I'm getting sick and tired of a certain person here criticizing three people over there because they're not doing their job, but yet he's under investigation for sexual favors and all that stuff. It's got to stop. If you're not going to be honest about it, stay the hell home, and let's get back to the basics.
You're right on. It's got to stop, and we've got to clean up our act. Al, God bless you. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Caller, I'll be there in a minute. Don't go away. Please, stay there. Don't forget Scows Carquest Centers. Customer satisfaction is always the goal, and I'll tell you what, they've got some great people there. I'm a good friend of mine, Jeff Poole. I'm telling you what, you expect great service. You're going to get it at Scows Carquest Centers. 3 locations, 518 Overland in Burley, 323 East 8th and Highway 25 in Rupert, and exit 211 I-84 with their big truck center. What a team. I'm talking about Scows Carquest Centers and all your products, all your accessories, all your supplies for virtually every vehicle and service. Scows Carquest Centers, serving you where customer satisfaction means every detail matters. I bit my tongue. I'm sorry. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I like your comparison with the federal and the state governments. I think that probably the state governments are more closely in step with their citizens, like the citizens of Idaho represented by Idaho legislature, so forth and so on. But I think the big problem is when our federal representatives go back to Washington, D.C., they learn very quickly that if they don't play the game, then they're not included in the game. And I think that, the beauty part of this United States of America is that we're supposed to have 50 sovereign states, by definition, by plan, and as a way to keep a strong centralized government from ruling over everybody with a blanket law that really doesn't apply to everybody. And I think that there would be some hope if we had strong governors and strong state legislators who would say, that may be fine for Massachusetts, but Idaho won't even consider it.
Let me ask you a question right there. I honestly, and I'm convinced, now somebody's out in the audience, or there's going to be a group of somebodies, they're going to say, well, Zeb, yeah, but you're friends with most of the legislators, that's why you're standing up for them. No. If I feel that somebody needs criticism, I'm going to give it to them. But I will tell you this, I have never seen more committed people in most respects as our legislators that we have, and also our governor. But on a national level, and I'm going to go back to the deal with Mike Simpson, and I want your comment. We got into an argument over Muslims being involved in the Obama White House, and Mike said, well, you're just like a McCarthyist, I am a McCarthyist in that case, because I don't want them working on behalf of the Muslim Brotherhood in our administration. But, you would think I'm also a voter. I'm not just a talk show host. And if a guy like him is going to avoid calling my program and talking to his constituents, there's something wrong with that politician.
Well, yeah. First of all, what I notice, and I don't claim to be, I usually vote conservatively, but what I notice about Democrats and liberals is that they have a real propensity to call people names, and somehow label people, and when they call people names and label people, it's kind of like you're not worth talking to if they call you a racist, if they call you a homophobe, well then that just takes you out of the conversation. And for Mike Simpson to call you to relate you to McCarthyism, that's real close to being. That's a liberal tactic, in my point of view. And I don't think
that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. I like that. I hate to rush you along, but I got a weather forecast. But wait a minute, just in a second. I want to talk to you a second. Your point is so well taken. But the conversation that particular morning was the denigration that he put forth about Michelle Bachmann because she questioned Obama's naming of these Muslim Brotherhood members to the cabinet, and she wanted to know if they'd done any background checks, etc. And quite frankly, she was right in questioning these people, but yet Mike jumped up and said that all of us are McCarthyists. If we want to check on today, it's proving to be very true that we should be checking more thoroughly on the Muslims that are being appointed to certain office positions. Do you not agree?
I agree 100%. Yeah, and I agree that people like Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin, they can't denigrate or make fun of them enough. And like I say, that's a typical Democratic tactic, is to call people names or to make fun of them like binders full of women, or I can see Russia from where I live.
Yeah.
And it's a narrow-minded. It's not very intelligent, but somehow it seems to work because they put you over in a category and say, oh, you're a racist, or you don't like people from south of the border, and then there's nothing else for you can say. You're just like, so I think it's a terrible tactic, and I think Mike Simpson does not represent a lot of people who live in this area.
Let me just jump in here. 6 years ago, actually 6.5 years ago, before Obama's first election, you probably, if you were listening, knew that the Democratic Party for the state of Idaho tried to hang a racist tag on me, and they tried to destroy my business and tried to destroy my radio program. They went as far as sending press releases all over the United States, some of which appeared even back in my hometown newspaper in Wisconsin, about a racist talk show host, me. They were after me because I didn't want Obama and his ideology in office. They went after me in the dirtiest way. But you know, the ambiguity of these people and their lack of common sense and or brain power, if you'll think back to those programs prior to that election, I was advocating Condoleezza Rice to run for president, but they overlooked that. Now, what color skin does she have?
Yeah, they're, like I say, all they got to do is just, it's like the schoolyard name calling, and then it's a tactic that they use to put people off, to silence them, to basically put them in a category where nobody should listen to them, because, and I don't know why it works. I think it works because they do have the power of the major media outlets, you know, and the major media outlets go along with it and present, you know, a biased point of view and what's really happening. But but I think if the states, I think probably if the states would stand stronger and you know take you know, like the governor of Arizona, you know, she's always under attack there. And the Sheriff Arpaio, you know, these people, they don't let the name calling really upset them very much.
Yeah. I wish I had longer to talk to you. You're a very nice man. Thank you so much. I got to get a weather forecast in here. God bless. Have a good day.
Thank you, Zeb.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Right now it's time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Red's Trading Post at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Oh my, don't forget to check on the concealed weapons classes they have from LMS Defense and Legal Heat. I went through those. They are excellent. And they've got a great selection of new firearms from Browning and Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, absolutely all the guns and ammunition, all the accessories right there at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. Got some stuff coming up. When I mean stuff, I mean we got weather stuff coming up. That's for tomorrow. So what's going to happen today? And you still got that darn fog hanging around. It just won't go away. Partly sunny, 33 for the high. Winds are not going to be a problem. They're going to be out of the east northeast at about 9 miles an hour. Cloudy tonight, 27 for the low. Now the weather stuff. That'll take place tomorrow on Friday. Rain and snow just before lunchtime, 39 for the high. Yes, you're going to get some precip out of this, okay? And taper off Friday night. And Saturday, mostly sunny, and this is pretty nice. We haven't seen this all week, but we're looking for a high of 40, 43 on Sunday. How about that? Break out your T-shirts. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to you by Red's Trading Post. Our dear friends, Ryan and the rest of the crew at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I'd like to hear what, you know, really think about this. We can do a lot. I don't want anybody to call up and say, well, we can't do anything. Yes, we can. Any major cleanup has to start with one push of the broom someplace. Someplace. I don't care if it's cleaning up a certain part of our society in Burley or Rupert or Twin Falls or Jerome or Haley, whatever. We as citizens need to start the ball rolling and not accept anything less. Set some standards and not let the liberal thought come in and, like Swiss cheese, shoot holes in them. No! I am so sick, and I know I'm going to lose part of my audience on this. I don't care. Liberal thinking has destroyed this country. Liberal thinking has destroyed a lot of countries in the world. And I think it's about high time we just stood up on our hind legs and said enough is enough. And like Matt Dillon, clean up Dodge City. It's time. It's time. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've got a question for you folks out in the audience, and I know I'm playing with a lit fuse here on this story, but I want somebody to call and really give me the difference. Remember that word, the difference, okay? As you know, there has been a whole bunch of criticism on the Republican whip Steve Scalise. Remember what he did 12 years ago? He supposedly talked to a white supremacist organization. And they were talking about, mostly in that speech, tax issues. They found a tape. And they found out that Steve Scalise had talked to a white supremacist organization. Why, the liberals. Oh, my gosh. We got to run him out of Washington. Why, we can't have that. He's a white supremacist. We can't have him doing that. Good heavens, get rid of him. Dear listener, let me ask you this simple question. What is the difference? The difference between Steve Scalise talking to possibly a white supremacist organization or Eric Holder or Al Sharpton talking to the NAACP or the Black Panthers? Somebody call me and tell me if there's not two different crayons in the box there. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. I wonder how many more people like this guy that was picked up that are out there, you know, and waiting for their opportunity wherever the place may be. But, you know, the propaganda isn't just restricted to brainwashing these people to believe in killing is a method or an end in. It's, you know, our entire school system is teaching socialism, which is very destructive to our free enterprise system and the way of life. And you can see that happening. The colleges and so forth are basically socialist indoctrination centers, and it's funneling right down into the lower schools now through Common Core and so forth. So, I mean, indoctrination is not just into this type of radical jihadism. It's happening with socialism that's leading to this acceptance of, you know, unlimited government and destruction of our Constitution and our freedoms.
I agree with you and everything that you said. And the number one thing that I'm really concerned about is how much longer is our Constitution going to remain our Constitution?
Well, you know, there's a trend right now, at least I think our state legislature hopefully is smart enough to not go for a con, but they're pushing on it, and it's being pushed by left and right, and under the idea that we can have a limited constitution. We know that all of the legal constitutional professors and so forth have said if you have a constitution, you can't limit the agenda. Even if you could, the ratification, some say, well, it takes 3/4 of the states to ratify. Well, who's going to select the delegates?
There you go.
And so forth. See, you know, I mean, there's just so many ifs and ands and buts.
I agree. I got
radicalization in our school system and the colleges. There's no freedom for conservative constitutionalists on college campuses.
I agree.
We've seen that with these free speech zones and all that. So we've got a major problem at all levels, not just with the jihad people.
We're going to be talking about that with Professor Richard Kelsey this morning at 10:30. Got to run and do a commercial. Thank you very much, Adrian. God bless. Thank you. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. 7 locations here in southern Idaho to serve you. Every one of them very, very professional, in the best in service, the best in traction tires, the best in tire chains, the best in batteries, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts. Oh, the best in brake service. I'm telling you. But stop in, and the number one thing, service. They really, really take care of you with a smile on their face, and bing, bang, boom, you're back on the road again. Absolutely nice people. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pauline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I sat here this morning and I thought, I can give you the rundown of the news and everything, but I'm just so concerned about the garbage in, garbage out that's happening in our society. Now, another story that you haven't heard a lot about yet, but you will hear more, is with the Secret Service, the President's Secret Service. All of a sudden yesterday afternoon as a matter of fact, 6 of 8 leaders are gone. Their history, they got canned. They're out of there, fired. And from talking to various people at the think tanks back east, Obama is really cracking the whip, and if anybody stands up to him and says, Mr. President, we can't do it this way, or Mr. President, we shouldn't do it this way, bam! Don't let the doorknob hit you in a very, very tender place. He's getting rid of everybody. This president, as many have said that are no longer with the Secret Service, like Dan Bongino that we quoted yesterday, this president will not take advice from anyone that's knowledgeable about various subjects. He will not. And if they try to voice their concerns, adios, amigo. We're going to take a little break and come back with the Chamber of Commerce report with Kay Cameron. Oh, by the way, real quick, did you hear about those 2 guys that climbed Yosemite's El Capitan Mountain? 3,000 feet, flat surface, straight up. Took them 19 days. And they used only their hands and feet to pull themselves up. And they ate and slept in hanging tents. Of course, with my inquiring mind, I'm curious about other bodily functions and how that was ascertained. Look out below!
Yeah, hopefully there was nobody down below, but definitely off the cliff.
Don't look up, Gina.
No.
Okay. See you in 6.
Okay.
Oh, she thought I was going to start talking, so she turns the music down just a little bit, saying, oh, where are you? I'm back.
That's my prompt.
Okay, thanks, Gina. Oh, my. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, and, of course, some of our great advertisers like Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Don't forget Two Handsome Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with Joel Heward and his wonderful family and staff serving you. Very flexible hours. They're always there when you need them. Absolutely. And they can also travel to rural towns and churches and help you with any and all of the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one, always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. So please contact them today. And that number, 436-5636. 436-5636. Handsome Mortuary in Rupert, serving you and your family. Want to remind you, too, every morning we start the show off with the weather forecast with Michael Rogers, and it's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Wonderful, wonderful people at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. And don't forget all your carpet and flooring and your home decor needs, whatever you need to make your house a home. And they've got all the new Valentine's Day decorations and everything. Oh, stop in. Newly refurbished furniture at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Let's head on over to the Chamber of Commerce, and lo and behold, there we have her packing up all of her Christmas ornaments. Kay Cameron.
Oh, good morning. I actually do need to pack up my Christmas ornaments because I do still have my little Christmas tree sitting in my office. And I thought on my way to work today, that's one of my projects for the day.
Well, you know, I love Christmas. I love the decorations. I love the lights. I love the atmosphere. I love the attitude. I hate to see it go.
I agree. Christmas, it's just such a special time of year, and it's just really enjoyable. And it's always so hectic and so crazy and busy that it seems like it just comes and goes way too quickly.
Absolutely. But now here we are already. I mean, wow, you talk about going quickly. This is January 15th already. What in the world's going on at the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce?
Well, today I popped into our 2015 leadership class. They started today with their first class, and welcome them to participate. And we look forward to seeing them out and about in the community this upcoming year as they learn about the community and work on developing their leadership skills. And it's a great program, and so we're very excited about it.
I was going to ask you, and I don't know who in the world decided this or how come this came up, but Twin Falls and Burley supposedly tied for fourth for the most boring cities in Idaho. What's going on here?
Well, you know, that was actually my topic of conversation today, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, I saw this come across the internet the other day, several days ago actually, and Movado puts out this survey, and they've done a lot of them, and you know, it just kind of makes my blood boil a little bit when you kind of start looking at what the things that they are looking at and the things that they are taking into comparison. And, you know, they just only take the statistics and they look within the city boundaries. And so we scored pretty high in the arts on that, you know, when they account how many fast food restaurants you have. Apparently, the more fast food restaurants you have, the more boring of a city you are. And so it's just really interesting. But what's so frustrating is, you know, I do hear from people, well, there's nothing to do here. And I said, well, have you done this? And have you done this? And you and all of the listeners out there have heard me talk every week about lots and lots and lots of things here in our community. And the truth is, you can make what you want of any community. You can get as involved and participate in as much or as little as you want. You know, the people who think it's boring here are the people that are going to sit at home on the couch and say there's nothing to do anywhere. And but it couldn't be farther from the truth saying that we don't have things to do here, because we are in such an accessible community here in the Mini-Cassia area. We have access to so many recreational opportunities, and there's just really a lot of things to do here.
You know, the way you said that, I couldn't agree more, because you're either a leader or you're being led. And if you have to be led to always have something to do and always try to have somebody else find something fun for you to do, my goodness, I challenge that, because if you'll just look around your environment here in southern Idaho, there is a lot of activity.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things to do, and you know, I just can't find time to fit in all of the things that I want to do, because we really do have a lot of fun things. You might have to go out and actively look for things to do, but we've got, you know, we've got community concerts, and we've got plays, and we've got paddle boarding and boating and snow skiing and snowshoeing, and I mean, I could just go on and on and on. We have a community college right here in the Mini-Kaja area with CSI, and so you can take continuing education classes. You can take all kinds of stuff. You know, they offer like photography classes and pottery classes and genealogy classes, and I mean, there's really truly something for everyone.
Couldn't agree more, and quite frankly, that would be a good cue for you to tell everybody if they're curious about what to do, just call the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, we'll check out our website on our events calendar page. It's minikajachamber.com. But the other thing I want to mention before I go through all that whole list is the city of Burley was also just recently ranked as number 8 on the best place to start a small business in the country.
Yeah.
So you want to keep that in mind as well. And so we really do have a lot to offer in the Mini-Kaja area. It's a great place. Come by. Would love to talk about it because we love this place. We love this community. We are located at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn, and it is a beautiful day here today. The river is gorgeous, the snow on the trees everywhere. It's really beautiful. You can find us online at minikajachamber.com. Give us a call at 208-679-4793. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and connect on LinkedIn.
And stop into the office and help Kay take down her Christmas tree.
Yes, it's just little.
Okay.
and flashy and pretty, and it's probably time for it to go.
All right, Kay, God bless. See you next Thursday.
Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Lovely lady right there, Kay Cameron, with the Mini-Kaja Chamber of Commerce, and doing a great job, too. Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. Really, there is. Let's also turn the page here for a second and tell everybody about Let's Ride. Oh, my, where the fun is sold. With all the snow up on the mountain, and there's quite a bit of snow. I was talking to some guys yesterday that said, man, they were up snow machine and had a ball. Don't forget, at Let's Ride, they've got all the Skidoo snowmobiles. Oh, my. And, of course, all the accessories. Why, they can get you up in that angel dandruff just really enjoying yourself. So stop into Let's Ride today between Rupert and Burley Highway. It's actually 270 Highway 24, and they're waiting to serve you. And, oh, by the way, too, this is really important. All the four-wheelers, don't forget, don't wait till next spring to get them serviced and ready to go. Do it now. Save time and be ready. Absolutely wonderful people. Something for everybody at Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, where the fun is sold. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Hello,
I'd like
Tony.
to go back to the school system for a little bit, if I can.
All right.
You know, having spent 9 years in the Catholic school back east where discipline was severe, and even in one of the public schools I went to where we had World War II veterans as teachers, their discipline was good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, today, it seems like the students have control of the schools, and we're paying taxes, pretty high taxes, especially here in Twin Falls, to support schools that are teaching this Common Core stuff, which anything with common attached to it stinks of socialism. And I object to having to pay taxes to any kind of school system that forces us to pay taxes to introduce socialism to our kids.
You know, the other day I had Kyle Olson from EAGnews.org from Michigan on my program. He's been on many, many times. And it's so easy for people to say, well, we need more money. Well, we've got to have more funding. Well, we need a bigger budget. But you know something, Tony? It's got to go back down to the personal attachment to education and how these kids are learning. You can't just throw money at something and expect it to cure itself.
Oh, you know, we've just got a big increase in our property taxes, and these never-ending school levies. They're talking about building more and more schools. What are these things going to end up being? School systems that are teaching socialism that's going to bring our country down? You know, this it's getting to be a disease now.
Well,
every time you turn around, they want more money for our school systems and to bring in socialism to our kids.
I'm a big advocate of great education, better schools, better qualified teachers, and everything else. But for just the sake of saying, well, we got to increase the budget this, or we've got to increase the budget that, as if that's going to be a cure-all and a panacea for the problem, it's not. Tony, it's always good to hear from you and Mary. Hope all is well, and we are going to go to dinner here real soon.
Let us know. We're ready anytime.
All right. Thank you so much for your call.
Sir.
Appreciate it. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to get Gina on here for a minute. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Were you listening at the end of the program last hour?
No.
Oh, why? You're supposed to.
Yeah, I'm busy. Got other things to do, but no, I wasn't.
No, I know you are, but I'm going to put this question to you because, honestly, I thought about this the other day, and I'm not going to take a lot of time, but I want to get your opinion on it. You heard about Republican whip Steve Scalise, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and how everybody was just ready to throw him out of Washington, D.C. because 12 years ago, he spoke in front of a white supremacist organization regarding tax issues.
Okay.
But now, my question is to you, really, when you think about it, and the condemnation of Mr. Scalise for talking in front of a white supremacist organization, what is the difference, Gina, as a journalist, of having Al Sharpton or Eric Holder or Louis Farrakhan talk in front of the Black Panthers or the NAACP?
There is no difference. Absolutely none. And from a journalistic standpoint, there is no difference. You know, they're talking in front of the same genre of group.
Yeah.
You know,
but yet white supremacy and how dare you do that? Why, you have to be ridden out of town on a rail. You have to give up your position to this Mr. Scalise, and they mocked him. They made fun of him. It was on every newscast. They said he's absolutely destitute of any human feeling. Why, how dare he? But then I sat there watching the news with my wife, and I said, wait a minute, Deanne, what's the difference between Al Sharpton talking to the NAACP or Louis Farrakhan with the Black Panthers or anything else? That's not considered extreme racism. No,
well, not to them anyway, but they're the ones raising the flag, you know, so it's what is the phrase? Don't do as I say, or do as I say, but not as I do.
Yeah, or what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah, and so basically, you know, they're pandering to the same types of groups. So really, from a journalistic and a logical standpoint, there is absolutely no difference.
But I was the only one, and I'm not trying to blow the bugle and say hooray Zeb, but I was the only one that brought this thing up as far as what's the difference. And as far as I know and have perceived, I agree with your answer. There is none.
There is none.
Right.
You've got a quick phone call, and we've got more to the studio.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, this is Jeff calling in again. Hey, I want to touch on that last caller's comment about the school system and then a little bit on taxes and pick your brain on it. But what I was wondering is, first off, I came from Box Elder County just across the line, and our property taxes, 83% of our property taxes went to the school board. Up here in Cassia County, it is less than 15%. So I'm wondering how in the heck do you even operate a school system on 15%? And then people will say, well, our property taxes are lower up here. They're higher. Mm-hmm. My property taxes in Utah versus here, they're higher in Idaho. So I'm wondering how does that even equate to that? You have Malta over there. They can't even drink out of their own, have any drinking water, and we're trying to teach our kids like that. Our school teachers don't get paid anything to teach here, so you know you got the best school teachers, because who would work for free? Nobody.
Let me ask you a question real quick, and I've got another segment starting, and I wished I had more time, but I want to ask you this question. In comparison as to what you see and what you perceive with the school systems in Box Elder County, and also what you see here, what's the big difference, and who really is doing a better job?
Idaho is doing a better job as far as being more financially responsible at their schools. 100 to nothing. I mean, they are way farther ahead. Fox River County was conglomerating into big schools, which I did not agree with. I agree with keeping the schools small. But the schools are getting run down. They're old. They need updated as far as to keep up with, how they're run, what it costs to heat them and cool them and everything else to keep the kids comfortable so they can learn. So
I know that
part, I mean, if we don't put money into them now, it's just going to get more and more expensive. I mean, nothing's going down in front.
I agree with you. I will say that I'm very familiar with that area, and I'm very familiar with those schools. And God bless the people down there for sending their children to a school that's almost like going to a college campus. It's very, very new, very, very innovative. But I agree with you. All that glitters is not gold.
Exactly. Pumping money into it is not the solution, but there comes a point when you have to.
I agree. Sir?
Gadget County School District needs to pump it in, and operating off of a 15% budget off that, I commend them for doing that, because that's unreal. That's unheard of. So what I'd like to say is, where's the rest of the money going from your property tax? Because our roads aren't that great, and everything else ain't that great, so where's it going?
You call in again when I don't have another segment, and we'll visit longer on this, because you're very articulate and you know what you're talking about. Call me some morning in the first hour. I'd love to have you back, okay?
Sounds good, Deb.
God bless you, man. Thank you. Very nice man. Brought up some really good points. I appreciate that. Hey, don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my. All the life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, they know and can make sure that you are protected. That's right. Very accessible and devoted to serving others for your successful future. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4424. My goodness, where'd all these dogs come from anyway? Oh, my goodness. Dogs all over the place. Somebody go get that poodle. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, from Minidoka Animal Control, here comes Officer Ken Mort. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Well, not too bad. Have you come down with that flu bug yet that's going around?
Actually, no, I got lucky. Wife and kids came down with it, but all I wound up with was a head and chest cold for a little while.
Holy smokes. Last Friday, I was outside doing some work, and we finished up feeding the steers and everything, and I walked over in front of the barn, and I thought somebody'd hit me in the head with a shovel, and it was downhill from there.
Oh, yeah, I know it's been traveling rampant through the area.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have wound up coming down with it. I mean, and we've all been vaccinated for the flu and everything this year, but they said, Annette, that the strain that's going through here, Annette, the vaccine, all it does is help Annette it go through your system a little faster, but it doesn't prevent it.
Amen. Well, I'm glad you're still healthy. Now, tell us what's going on in Dog Nation.
Well, today we want to feature Oso.
Who?
He's a male terrier cross.
Oso?
Yeah, he's approximately 2 years old. He has a black and gray face, tan on his legs. He's a nice little guy. He has not had a lot of handling and needs some tender, loving care. But once you get him picked up, he loves to be held. His owner, unfortunately, had passed away, and the family had to surrender him and a couple other dogs that they had, which we've already found homes for the other two. But he's okay with other little dogs and is available for adoption to make somebody a great pet. I mean, when we got him, he was really matted, and one of the groomers here north of Paul took him in for us. Got him, and had to take their time because of how matted he was and everything. Got him all groomed up. I mean, he looks so precious in the picture.
Oso? How did you come up with that name?
That was actually his name.
Really?
And Oso means bear in Spanish. But he is so cute. I mean, when we picked him up, he looked like a little bear cub.
Oh my goodness!
He was so hairy and that he looked like a little bear cub.
That's what your mom and dad said when you were at the hospital. But anyway, that's a long time ago. What kind of a breed of dog did you say it is?
He is a terrier cross. And just a small dog.
I see.
Maybe about 6 or 7 pounds.
I see.
And that's not going to be a real big dog. But like I say, he'll make somebody a great pet, especially if he can find somebody and stuff and that wants to give him all sorts of tender love and care.
Oh, I tell you what, you're breaking my heart, man. I hope so. What else have you got for us today?
Well, I just want to remind everybody in that these temperatures are really cold out there.
Yes.
You need to make sure that your dogs have got plenty of food, water, and also your livestock, horses, and then cows, goats. All those have got plenty of food and water. And then if you've got them in a pasture and stuff and that, make sure you're still getting them hay twice a day, because the grass and stuff that maybe they might be able to find in that pasture ain't got nothing in it to help them out, and they need all the body fat they can get on them. And I've noticed that horses will actually drink more water in the winter than they do in the summertime.
Absolutely, Ken. I'm so glad you said that. And they need just a little bit more TLC on the feed, too, to make sure that program is going to keep and sustain the caloric content to let them eat enough to generate enough heat to stay warm.
Exactly. So make sure you guys are taking extra care of your animals and stuff and that, whether they be farm animals or your dogs and cats and stuff and that, so that we don't have any issues of them turning around and becoming malnourished and dropping over dead in the yards of the pastures.
And see, that's why I always eat more in the wintertime, because I'm making sure that my caloric heat content is up warm enough to keep me at an elevated temperature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all part of that natural cycle.
Yes, it is. Hey, by the way, if somebody wants to help and contribute and aid and abet the situation over there with Minidoka Animal Control, with all the puppy dogs, etc., how do they get a hold of you?
They call us at 438-2200, or can reach me on my cell phone at 670-7268.
You know what? Let's do this. Let's have a little bit of a rewind. I'll do it for you. Now start that over again.
Okay, they can reach us at the shelter at 438-2200, or on my cell phone at 670-7268.
Okay, one quick question, like on this little dog called Oso. All people have to do is call you, and they can arrange a time to come over and kind of hold him and kind of cuddle with him a little bit and everything?
Oh yeah, I mean our normal hours are from 9 to 1 Monday through Friday and 9 to 11 on Saturday.
Okay.
Excuse me. But I mean, if we're not there, if they can get a hold of me on my cell phone and make arrangements, and I can either have somebody meet them there, or I can meet them there, and let them be able to see one of our furry friends and that they're interested in, and hopefully be able to get them a home.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I were in your job, I'd probably own about 500 dogs, because it'd be really hard to part with some of those. This little puppy sounds really, really cute.
Oh, he is adorable.
Okay. Ken Mort, my dear friend for many, many years, head of Minidoka Animal Control. Who let all these dogs out anyway?
Let the dogs out!
Oh, my. Be sure and check with them at Minidoka Animal Control on that little dog called Oso. Man, I got to see a picture of him. Gina, if you could, send that over to me or something. I'd really appreciate it.
It's up on your Facebook.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Hey, don't forget Christine Pickup and this lovely lady at Mount Harrison Audiology. Yes, are you hearing everything that's going on around you? Hearing loss is the third most common health condition, just behind arthritis and heart disease. And hearing loss can affect anybody at any age. And the most common cause of hearing loss is a lot of noise exposure. And if you're having trouble hearing, here, please listen to me. Get a hold of her today. Call her on her cell phone at 312-0957. I'll repeat, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Please contact her today. Did you hear that? 312-0957. It is time as we go across the river and through the woods, and the lovely Rita Ramsey. Good morning, Rita. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Not bad. Rita, I spent most of the first hour this morning, and I'm not apologizing for it. As a matter of fact, I want to elaborate on it a little bit more with you. We're in trouble. We as a society, we as a civilization, we as people are absolutely in trouble. We are not guarding the hen house, so to speak. We're not doing the things to have a progressive, civilized society. We're falling apart. We're letting the trash in our society take over and try to run us back into a 7th or 8th century lifestyle with the maiming and the killing and everything else. What are we going to do?
Well, it all boils down to what I've said before, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's the home. It has got to start in the home. People have got to start saying, this is what's going to happen to my kids if I don't take control of it and start doing something. And that means spending time with your kids, doing things with your kids, going to their school activities, making sure they participate in school activities, because if not, they're going to be out with the kids who are not busy, and they're getting into mischief. And so it all starts in the home, and you've got to have order, and you've got to have reason for the kids to want to be home. It needs to be a refuge. It needs to be a place where they're taught values, and those values are the things that are important to parents. So are the parents having values? Do they share their values with their kids so that their kids learn and know the things that are of importance? And that means being a decent person and trying to do good, and gosh, if I must say it, go by the Bible and go by the 10 Commandments and the things Jesus taught, for heaven's sake.
No, I would absolutely stand up and say yes, definitely, to everything you said. And that opens up another field of this conversation. It was heartbreaking in some circumstances last night when I listened to the father of the 20-year-old Ohio boy that had converted to Islam, and oh boy, yeah, sure, they're going to say it's a religion of peace, that was now going to make a pipe bomb and a series of pipe bombs and try to destroy major entrances to our nation's capital, and then sit outside across the road with guns that were provided to him by some really bad people to shoot the people running outside. Now, my point is to you, 20 years old, living at home, and his parents had no clue that he was, as a convert to Islam, radicalized? Are you kidding me?
Well, this has permeated our society. We have the same kind of thing happen with people who come to work, and it's like, well, do I really need to come to work today? Or I'm not feeling so hot, I'm sick, or, well, I've got this excuse, I don't need to come to work. And, oh, by the way, I can't come to work because I'm in jail today, and various different things like that. You know, it's a really sad deal. And I mentioned to a couple of the guys that work here, you know, where were these kids, like this boy that you just talked about, plus the ones that we see out there that are having troubles, on the day that their family talked about consequences and choices? Yeah. Did they even have that conversation? And that's what really bothers me, is our parents teaching their kids from the time they're little tiny, clear through their teenage years, don't think that any choice you make doesn't have a consequence, because it does. You can't make a choice without a consequence. That is a divine given. And you can choose whether the consequences are good or whether they're bad by the choice that you make. And when people start learning that, and are fixed on, okay, if I make this choice, I can have this choice or this choice, what kind of consequences are going to come because of it? I agree. And that's what it all boils down to.
Okay, we both agree on this, but the community, you know, I was really against what Hillary Clinton had said years ago, it takes a village to raise a child. But you know what? Now I think it takes a village to be cognizant of the children that are being raised within that village, and find the bad ones. There's some bad weeds among the flowers, and we've got to make sure that they're taken care of and that they're rectified. Look at this kid. Look at this kid, Rita. 10 years of age. If you didn't see this video, it will shock you to tears like it did me. 10-year-old boy, and he's standing in front of an Al-Qaeda soldier, I should say an ISIS soldier, and he picks up a gun and walks up behind two prisoners and executes them. 10 years old.
Well, that's why all of this comes right down to the parents. You know, that boy was scooped out of his parents' control for one reason or the other, and started being indoctrinated so that he would be a good ISIS or a good Al-Qaeda or a good whatever kind of terrorist. But, you know, to capture the essence of what needs to be done individually, you know, there are some kids out there who need to be pulled into other families, and I'm not saying tell them to come live with us and we'll teach them what we want. It's kind of like, well, maybe we need to include them and stuff. But this is really a sad thing in our world, where we're seeing little children raised to be terrorists from the time they're little tiny. They don't have a chance.
Well, and then there's something else, and on this program I don't mince words. We're just going to call it like it is. We have been told by the president, we've been told by many others in this administration, oh, no, it's not Islamic Jihad. No, it's not Muslim terrorists. These are extremists. Oh, no, I'm going to call it the way it is. They keep saying how peaceful they are. Well, it's these peaceful people that had 911 organized. It's these peaceful people that took that 10-year-old and converted his mind to where he would blow the brains out of two captives. It's these peaceful people that had the Kawachi brothers walk into a magazine headquarters and shoot 13 people. I'm sick of this peaceful garbage, and I'm calling it what it is. Why won't this president have the guts and the backbone to call it what it is? Muslim jihad, Muslim terrorism, etc.
Well, it just makes you wonder how tied up with them that he is if he won't actually acknowledge it. And, you know, you've seen how the spokespeople for the State Department and even for him and his news conferences just skate around it, all the way around it. They won't say the word. I don't know what a person is supposed to think, except that it's like, hello, are you one of them? And that's why you're defending it so drastically? Because when somebody does something like that, you need to call it what it is to make sure that people understand and know, and it doesn't happen again and again and again.
Yeah. I want to change subjects a little bit, and this one really got my hair up on the back of my neck this morning, and I was sitting there watching the news at 4 o'clock with Deanne, and unfortunately the channel at that time was on a very liberal network, and they were giving praise. Oh, they were just building him up to be the highest in the heavens, Obama, because of the economy starting to turn around. And I looked at Deanne, and I said, now listen to this garbage that they're spewing, bragging on how Obama corrected the economy. Rita, you know, because of what you do, your bookkeeping expertise and everything else, the economy is turning around because more people have got divisible income to spend, not at the gas pumps, but to spread it to the Baskin-Robbins and clothing stores and everywhere else. This is why the economy is starting to come back.
Well, it may be starting to come back, but then you have our government, and it doesn't matter whether it's our federal government, and there's many state governments around the country that have all of a sudden decided, oh my goodness, the price of gas went down. Let's hurry and put a gas tax on things.
Yes.
And the part that's really bad about that is that every time they see a place where they can jump in and take more money, they do, instead of saying, you know what, let's let it heal. But the secret to it is not having waste in government. I saw a page yesterday, and I didn't bring a copy in here with me to where I'm sitting at my computer in here where it's quiet, but there's a number of taxes that went up on January 1st. The employment tax went up. The Medicare, I think it was the Medicare tax went up. The inheritance, or you call it the inheritance tax, but anyway, that went up. It went up from like 0 to 55%. We have a slew of taxes that started on January 1st, 2015. And, you know, the withholding tax, everything is all gone up, and you don't hear anybody touting that and saying anything about it, but it has gone up, and it's going to be a tax year extraordinaire. And the other thing is that I read an article this morning on a news site that said there are only 65 counties across the nation, and that's out of 5,500 counties, that have actually come out of the recession.
Wow.
So it's not doing wonderful things yet. And yet Obama's saying, oh, it's wonderful, everything's good, and I'm the one who is the reason that the price of gas has gone down. And I did see a thing the other day that showed how Obama really owes an apology to Sarah Palin.
Oh, amen. Amen.
He said, hey, drill, baby, drill, and we'll bring those prices down. And that's the kind of thing that has helped to do that. Now, I think that those prices coming down are of nefarious nature with the Middle Eastern people in trying to maybe collapse Russia's economy and Venezuela and some of those. And it's going to be a question is whether that happens, but Russia's on the verge of collapse right now for that very reason.
Let me ask you another question, and I talked about this a little bit with Gina, and I also mentioned it first hour. You know who Steve Scalise is, do you not?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you know the problems that he's been through as of late because somebody found out that he had 12 years ago had spoken to a white supremacist organization about taxes, and they were after his head on a platter. But my question was earlier this morning, and no one else in the media has asked this question except me. What is the difference, please tell me, Rita, of having Steve Scalise, a Caucasian, talk to a white supremacist group? What's the difference between having Al Sharpton or Eric Holder or Louis Farrakhan talk to the Black Panthers or the NAACP?
The difference is the party. He's a Republican, and they're all left. And that's the deal. I would be really interested to see a text of what he actually said in that meeting, because I'll bet you would find out that he was just speaking to a group of people. He wasn't speaking to the white supremacists or anything else, but they'll do anything that they can to try to blemish somebody's record and everything else. And I'm not saying that we need to give him a free pass. If he was associating with those people, then maybe he doesn't need to be in the leadership in the Congress. But I would like to see him challenge it and say, okay, here's the text of what he said. Certainly there's a video. We had video cameras back in those days. Mm-hmm. Get a copy of it and let's see what he said. And let's just compare it with Robert Byrd and Al Sharpton and some of those people that are out there just being absolute horrible people trying to cause all kinds of problem and calling people racist.
Do you believe, and I was asked this question the other day on the phone by a businessman, and I have a lot of respect for this man. Do you believe that whites, Caucasians, are under attack in this country to the point where, in the not-too-distant future, they may be in the minority numbers and people are trying to push them into those minority numbers sooner than later?
Oh, I absolutely think so. There's all kinds of things available through special grants and special privileges, and right down to how many you can have in here. And if you don't have one of this nationality and one of that nationality and one of this color and that color and everything else in this group, then you're going to have to get rid of some of the white ones and pull those in instead of saying, hey, let's just... The other people didn't even sign up to be in this class, so how are we going to get them?
Yeah.
But they are. The white man is the minority, actually, now. I believe that.
Okay. Please stand by. I've got to do a weather forecast real quick. We're on the air with Rita Ramsey, and we'll be right back. But right now, I want to remind you about some wonderful, wonderful people in Burley. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 678-6996. Write that number down and don't lose it, 678-6996. 996. They're located at 382 North Overland in Burley. And I'll guarantee you it's a number to remember because of all of a sudden sprains, strains, fractures, injuries due to accidents. They're there. They're treating everyday injuries and illnesses right there at Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center. Number again, 678-6996, 382 North Overland in Burley. Right now, here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. Got some stuff coming up. When I mean stuff, I mean we got weather stuff coming up. That's for tomorrow. So what's going to happen today? And you still got that darn fog hanging around. It just won't go away. Partly sunny, 33 for the high. Winds are not going to be a problem. They're going to be out of the east northeast at about 9 miles an hour. Cloudy tonight, 27 for the low. Now the weather stuff. That'll take place tomorrow on Friday. Rain and snow. Just before lunchtime, 39 for the high. Yes, you're going to get some precip out of this, okay? And taper off Friday night. And Saturday, mostly sunny, and this is pretty nice. We haven't seen this all week, but we're looking for a high of 40, 43 on Sunday. How about that? Break out your T-shirts. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland and Burley. Minor emergencies, major care. Number again, 678-6996. Rita, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I'm wide open to your opinion. I would like to see Jeb Bush, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell, especially John McCain and many, many others, put on a very slow-moving, floating raft somewhere out by the Aleutian Islands and just set to drift. And let some of the younger blood prevail and shake things up in this government. I'm sick of the old, same old, same old.
Well, that was kind of the reason why the Tea Party got started, was to see if we couldn't get some people who were actually patriots and constitutional conservatives involved in government. And, I think we're kind of making a difference. But until people start getting on board and saying, you know what, we want somebody that's more conservative. We want somebody a little more to the right, not center right or headed left. And start making a difference. People have got to start getting involved in stuff. I was talking to one of my Tea Party associates day before yesterday, who was up at the meeting in Boise as they were doing legislative proposals and things that they would send to the legislature to vote on. And she said, you know what? She said, we actually voted for the Republicans to be opposed to Common Core. And the majority of them went with that. Now, if we don't get that changed out of our, out of our state by our legislators, that means that they didn't go by what the Republican Party had for its base and recommended. All these people that met last week. And there's small things like that happening in a lot of places, but people have got to start really drumming to our legislators and then our Congress and our Senate that we want the Constitution back. We want them to go by the Constitution, and that means smaller government and less regulation and being, fiscally responsible and various different things like that, so that we can get back on track, because we are headed for a train wreck.
Well, we are. And I don't know what your reasons are for not liking Jeb Bush. I'll just name some of them. I don't like his immigration policies. I don't like his flip-flop attitude on gay marriage. I don't like anything to do with his stand on Common Core. So I don't want, and I said this in my Cow Pies and Coffee Cups blog last week, I don't want another Bush that we have to water in the White House. And as far as Mitt Romney's concerned, this will be his third time. And I was listening to Bill Kristol yesterday, and he came out and said, you know what? The way this election's shaping up, all people have to do is just kind of get reruns of what happened 4 and 8 and 12 years ago, and they'll be able to catch up on what's happening today. He's as fed up with this as I am.
Well, and it's quite interesting that he would actually say that, because generally he leans towards the establishment.
Yes, true.
But I kind of think that he's finding out that the people who support him, because he's supposedly a little more conservative than most, is that he'll find that his conservative followers and people who support conservatism aren't those same old people in the Republican Party, because they are not conservative at all. They act like they are, but they're not. They vote with the Democrats most of the time, or the way a Democrat would actually vote. And so it is a sad thing. I don't remember whether I told you this or not, but I knew that you were going to talk about it because one of the articles that I read said that conservatives shrug off Bush and Romney and remain confident in base-friendly hopefuls. A while back, we were at a meeting with all of a sudden his name left my mind. He's the author. You were there.
Oh, you're talking about Trevor Loudon.
Trevor Loudon, yeah. And he made this proposal, and it wouldn't have to be these exact people, but the way that you get conservative people into office is do like Reagan did, and say, this is who my cabinet would be. This is who I'm going to get. And you pull somebody from all these different sectors to where everybody sees somebody in there that they like, and it's like, you know what, I could go with that. You know, Ted Cruz is president, Alan West is vice president, John Bolton, Secretary of State, Mike Lee is Secretary of Interior, so we can get our lands back, Sarah Palin, Secretary of Energy, so we can drill, baby, drill, and Dr. Ben Carson, Health and Human Services, David Barton, Secretary of Education, so he can get rid of it, and Rand Paul, Secretary of the Treasurer, and his dad is an assistant so that he will actually enforce all the things that he's been talking about. And Scott Walker is Department of Labor. How could you not win when you have all of those people from various different sectors? And, you know, I look at all of these people and I just think they're absolutely amazing. And they all reach different sectors, and they're all major conservative and constitutionalists and want our country to come back to its original things and get us out of this trouble and debt that we're in.
All right, Rita, I've only got 30 seconds left, real fast. Tea Party, what's going on?
Actually, our next meeting will be in February, and we're kind of working on Common Core and Agenda 21 these next few months, and then we've got a special thing coming up in March, and I'll talk to you about it later.
You be sure and mention it. Rita Ramsey, God bless. Have a wonderful weekend. We will talk to you next Thursday.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Thank you very much. Nice lady, and she is informed. I'll tell you that. You know, I don't have to say too much right now because I know the lovely Gina over at the main studio. She's probably brought her little mid-morning snack with her or something, but man, I'm hungry and I'm starving to death. And I know some great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. How about Taco Bandito? Oh, I love this place. Love this place. 2301 Overland in Burley. Yes, sir. Let me tell you why. They've got the Southern Baked Burrito, either soft shell or grilled shell. I love the soft shell. It's good. Chicken or steak made a special way that just Kip knows. He is the Chef Boyardee burrito. He knows everything about them. And don't forget to the empanadas and the Bandito burritos. Everything is delicious at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Now, I know two other places right now I'm going to tell you about under the same banner. Burgers, etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 North Overland in Burley. And you know what they've got that is absolutely one of my favorite lunches? Monday through Friday, they have a different flavor of bread bowl soup every day. Oh, I love that bread bowl soup. And, of course, they've got corn dogs and burritos. And on Sunday at the Burley store, they've got a shrimp dinner special. Oh, you're going to love it. Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. Let's head on over to Steve-O's. Oh my. They've got a steak sandwich over at Steve-O's. Knock your boots off delicious. And, man, I'll tell you what, pork chops with salad and choice of spuds, and Steve's nacho fries topped with cheese and jalapeno peppers. Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn, 679-3887. Food made the way you love it. It's delicious at Steve-O's. And let's try Duck Uglies. Oh my goodness. We don't do fast food. We do good food as fast as we can. 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh my, what a great menu. Ribeye steak. I love that ribeye. And the New York steaks and the salmon and the battered cod and the hero sandwiches. Oh my goodness sakes. And this is kid and family friendly in a non-smoking environment. environment. Oh, you're going to love it. And they got music over there. You're going to love Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And last, I'm drooling, but not least, oh yes, the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, I love that Farmer Brown burger with the fries and the sauce and a milkshake, and they can make any flavored milkshake you want. I know, it's delicious. And they've got the combo meals, and like I said, you know, they've got kid baskets, either chicken chunks or hamburger and cheeseburgers with pickles and fries, only $3.50. Wow. 601 East Main in Burley. I love this place. AC Drive-In. You stop in and see them today. And don't forget, those are just a few places to go when you're hungry and starving to death, to which I am right now. What'd you have to eat this morning, Gina? Did somebody bring you something?
No, I had an orange and a cup of coffee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that a fantabulous kind of breakfast?
I had, what did I have for breakfast? Oh, I had a small orange juice and 2 eggs on a piece of rye toast.
Ooh, I like rye toast. Do they have butter on it?
No, just the eggs.
Tabasco on the egg?
No. Quit adding things on that I wished I would have had.
I'm just trying to help you out.
Oh, man. I tell you, every time I do that Starving to Death segment, I sit here and I look at the clock and I say, okay, fat boy, you still got an hour to go. No munchies.
No munchies.
And I cut out having my cheese at 9 o'clock.
What?
I did.
Why?
Well, I made a promise to myself that I was going to try to get some of those Wranglers that shrunk in the closet to fit.
Okay. But it's only just a small little piece of cheese.
I know, but, small piece of cheese here, 37 sugar cookies here, something like that.
So basically you're in trying to slim off from the holidays.
Well, yeah, but I'm also in denial. I just love good food, and Deanne makes such delicious dinners and everything, and it's a shame every time I go on a diet, she loses weight.
So she's on a diet with you.
Yeah, no kidding. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I've got to get out of here for about 6 minutes, and I'll let you have it. I'll be back in 6. Oh, my. Cloudy, but yet kind of pretty outside with the sun trying to break through a little bit and the snow, and it's kind of pretty out there looking to the north out my window. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch with hour number 3, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I haven't done anything to make anybody mad yet, and they're calling in. Hold on just a second. And your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, and also thanks to some of our great advertisers like Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Stand by, caller. I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody, too, about the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Today, listen to this special. This is absolutely sounding delicious. Onion, mushroom, and cheese stuffed chicken breasts with choice of potato, veggies, and super salad. Oh, does that sound good? Onion, mushroom, and cheese stuffed chicken breast. I am drooling, with choice of potato, veggies, and soup and salad at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Get in there today. Delicious food. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I'm hungry already.
Well, you ought to be.
Okay, so if I like to get back to the school thing?
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I feel the way I do about this taxation is because we've got millions of people, illegals, that are in this country getting free education, free welfare, free Medicaid, and the cost, which is costing us millions of dollars, people like you and I, to keep these people in school.
Yep.
Where does it end?
It doesn't. It gets worse and worse and worse until finally you have stuck a huge hole in the bottom of the bucket and you pour the water in and it's running faster out the bottom. And that's exactly what the liberals and the Democrats want. They are hell-bent for a destructive course on America, and they don't have any respect for the American taxpayer whatsoever.
That's absolutely, and that's the way I feel, the way I do, and I'll stand behind the way I feel.
No, don't change.
Feelings out there, but I'm sorry.
No, don't change your attitude, because I'll tell you what, I am so sick and tired of everybody saying and playing on our heartstrings, oh, but you have so much. Share it with all the others. You know what? I've worked hard and you've worked hard all your life to gain and earn what you have, and how dare politicians, how dare our government say, well, you've got so much. Go ahead, Tony, give it back to these others. Go ahead, Zeb, give it to these others that aren't even citizens of this country. Are you kidding me?
That's right. And these politicians are filling their own personal bank accounts without tax money and don't give a damn about what's happening to us.
There you go. Don't weaken on your stand, Tony. God bless you, man. Thanks. All right.
Thank
Appreciate
you, Bye.
You know, I am so sick and tired of listening to some of these. Steny Hoyer, one of the Democrats that's got, I think he's unhinged upstairs, was on television. We have so much. We have so much what we can share with all the others. And the key word was all the others coming into this country. Oh, give me a break. Liberal nonsense. Don't forget our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call Nick Greenwell and his very, very talented staff, 678-1191. 678-1191. They've got the hydro pool in there. Oh, my goodness, for all the exercises in the water. And, boy, you have a workout in that pool, you're going to absolutely feel a lot better. Let me tell you, all the sports medicine exercises, all the exercises, and very, very, very knowledgeable staff. They are super friendly, and they know how to help you get back to being you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. It is time for Cassia County School Days, and we're very, very honored on Cassia County School Days to have two wonderful sponsors, and I'll go through that right now. First of all, we're very happy to have A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and don't forget they've got kind of a winter sale going on right now, 30% off on winter clothes and shoes, and don't forget, too, they've got all the Cherokee and the Dickie scrubs and all the shoes and all the baby items. Oh, my goodness, yes. Stop in and see some wonderful people at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And if you've been putting off on some surgery that you need, well, don't put it off. Call the Ambulatory Surgery Center. Yes, please call them today at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, number 677-8888. 677-8888. Whether it's carpal tunnel syndrome or whether you need knee surgery or a colonoscopy, please call them first at Ambulatory Surgery Center, 677-8888, along with A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. And lo and behold, look who we have on the phone with us today, and she's a lovely... That kind of shot my introduction, didn't it?
Yeah, you got your... Do you have her phone number?
No. I thought she'd be... Yes, I do. Try 431-6414. There we go. We're going to do this live and direct. Debbie Critchfield. Hopefully she's going to be there. Hopefully she didn't forget. I hear a whole bunch of beeping.
Your call has been forwarded to an...
I'll bet you that's her calling in. What do you think?
Go.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
She's on the air.
You,
were you cussing me?
You scared me. It's not right to push me into the cliff and let me hang there.
I am so sorry. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Let's get talking.
No, I'll tell you, Debbie Critchfield, the Cache County Schools Communication Officer. It's good to have you on the program. You are always a wealth of information. Now, what is this? The Department of Education, in partnership with the State Board, convened in December, and they were reviewing 32,000 potential questions. What's going on here?
Last spring, when our students across Idaho and any state that had adopted Common Core standards, they took the Smarter Balanced test. And after the test was administered, there was some questions raised in communities and in school districts regarding the kind of questions that were on the test. Now, in the past, we have not handed out test questions to parents and said, hey, this is, what's on there. Those things are always kept confidential for the obvious reasons. However, with the new assessment, there's always some concerns and questions. And so the legislature actually responded to the concerns that they heard around the state of Idaho. I don't know if other states did this, but they put together, or paid for anyway, a committee to come together. The individuals weren't paid, but they were, compensated for travel and so forth. A committee of folks met in December, the third week of December, and they reviewed all of the test questions, math and English language arts, for any kind of bias, for any kind of sensitivity, for any kind of leading questions that would direct the student to answer a particular way or to think a particular way.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and so these folks, there was over 80 of them from around the state, teachers, parents, administrators, school board members, and they were sequestered, for lack of a better word, during the day, 4 days in a row. I think they spent 8 hours a day, and they went through all of these questions, like I say, 32,000 questions, and 3 people viewed every question at least once.
Holy
and if there was, for any reason, something that stuck up to someone, or for whatever reason they thought, I'm not sure about that question, an individual was able to flag that question. And then a smaller group, then after any questions were flagged, which initially from this whole group, there were 60 questions and it's actually closer to 33,000 that were flagged by the group, that they thought, well, we're not too sure about these.
Well, now, let me interrupt you here and ask a question. Were these questions categorized into different segments so that they kind of had a pool of the same thought?
Yes. So, for example, one of our teachers at White Pine Elementary, for example, she was on this committee. And the questions that she spent time on with the English language arts were 7th grade reading and writing. So she knew this is what a 7th grader would see. And yes, so that's a very long way to answer your question of who, did you know, well, is this appropriate for a 3rd grader, appropriate for a 12th grader? Because
right.
Certainly there's going to be differences.
What?
And, so you have that mentality when you're reading this, okay, what do I think is appropriate for a 7th grader, or like I say, for a 12th grader?
Right. Now, what did you learn, and what did they learn from the questions that were asked?
Well, in visiting with some of the folks that served on the committee, to a person, they have communicated that they were surprised at how the test questions aligned well with the standards, and this is, of course, talking to educators who are familiar with the standards. Parents that I have visited with that served on the committee mentioned that they went into it thinking that, based on conversations that they had had or concerns that maybe had developed in the months since we had all taken the test, that there was some things that they needed to be worried about. And, as these folks have went through them, they were impressed with the quality of the questions.
again, referencing the teacher at White Pine, I asked her if she had flagged any particular questions, and she said yes. But then when I went back, so after they were flagged, you were able to go back and, as a committee, go through just the flagged ones to decide, well, is this something that I'm really concerned about, or did it just at that moment kind of strike me? But she said, yeah, there was a handful that, I wasn't sure about. But overall, she was very impressed with the level of and the quality of the question.
Okay, now let me ask this. Can you divulge, possibly generically, the different categories of the questions?
I am not sure how, like I say, other than knowing that they were broken down between English language arts, that was one group, so that was around 17,000 questions, and then, the other half was math. And then again broken down into grades. And then there were some differences of, you would look at a regular test question, one that you would maybe answer as a multiple choice, versus a writing prompt. And the new assessment also has audio tests or questions. And so they also had a portion that they would listen to, okay, this is what the student is hearing. And so anything and everything that was a potential question on the assessment, these folks were able to view.
Okay, now, out of these questions that gave you a better reasoning power, if you will, to understand parental questions about education, Common Core, whatever it might be, what about shortcomings? Did it show and provide any shortcomings in the education plan?
I don't know the answer to that, other than in visiting with some of the folks that went through them. Personally, well, I'll get to what actually, I will have a part in this a little bit, but I didn't see the questions myself. One of the shortcomings that was presented to the State Department, there was a tally made of, if there was a particular historical figure that was referenced, whether it was for an invention or something notable that they had done, like a president, for example. There appear to be more references to white males as an example of a person, rather than, it wasn't as culturally diverse as maybe some would have preferred it to be. And so that was, I think, a recommendation, not only that will go back to the State Department, but that will also go to the testing company, that they try to infuse more diversity into some of the nonfiction examples.
Let me ask you this, Debbie, and I'm by no means trying to put you on the spot, but I'm fully aware of what I would call the sanitization of some of our history in school books and texts in Texas and other states. When you talk about culturally diverse, could you also at that juncture run the risk of watering down education to where you really don't get the key points out?
Well, maybe, I don't know the answer to that. I guess on the one hand, for folks that have been concerned that we were watering down too much, this test would comfort them, knowing that there were main historical, well-known figures that anyone would have been acquainted with were the prime examples given to students. Here's this little brief bio of a particular person, and then whatever the writing prompt was relative to that. They weren't obscure. They definitely weren't obscure people, and it sounds to me that as far as what we're asking the kids to learn, whether it's a standard and then demonstrating their proficiency on a test, that there's some substance to that.
Last question I'll ask you this morning, and I hope this isn't a question from the bleachers out in left field, but is there going to be a compilation of facts and figures and common thought derived from these questions that the public can look at and read?
I think so, and I hope so. And that's in development. And so I will add that at this point, the committee's work is on hold. This committee has been asked to remain intact for the next 5 years, and they will continue every year for the next 5 years at least to review the test questions. And so you can kind of see that as a little bit of an oversight committee. any of the questions that they recommend for removal will then go to the State Board of Education, and they will look at those that have been recommended, and then the State Board will decide whether or not they want to take it off or leave it on. And then the State Board communicates with the testing company and says, these are the questions that we would like to have removed.
Okay.
And that's the process whereby we are very directly in control of the questions that come into our state.
You are excellent to have on the program and explain things, and of course she is the communications officer for Cassia County Schools, Debbie Critchfield. Thank you so much. God bless for being on the show.
Please forgive me for my tardiness and calling.
No, not at all. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Got it covered. Thanks, Debbie.
Block my number from here on out.
What's that?
I said, I hope you don't block my number from here on out.
Not in the least. Thank you very much for your time this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you. Very, very nice lady and excellent at what she does, Debbie Critchfield. Thank you very much. We're going to jump on over in just a moment and talk to Eli at Berry Equipment and Rentals, so that's coming up in just a moment. And I got something else I had to get in here, and do you know I laid it down and can't find it. Imagine that. Let's go to Gina and see if she's got Eli ready to go. Is he there?
No.
Okay, thank you. Let me know when he's on the air, and we're going to be talking to old Eli at Berry Equipment and Rental. 3 locations to serve you: Addison Avenue West, Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They've got the equipment to get any job done right. Is he there?
Got him.
Thank you, Gina. Eli, what are you doing over there?
How you doing?
I'm great. Hey, this is a big weekend.
Absolutely.
And why is it a big weekend?
Super Bowl or bust, man.
There's my guy. You better believe it.
Go.
We're going to be wearing cheese heads starting tomorrow morning all the way through the weekend, right?
Oh, I'm doing it today. I got my Packer shirt on and everything.
Oh, well, hey, man, you and me both. Listen, you've got a lot of things cooking over there at Berry Equipment and Rental. I'm telling you, you've got those big Doosan loaders. You got all the equipment to get any job done right. Tell us a little bit about some of the great deals you got.
Well, the new thing we're really pushing right now is we're actually renting the Doosan loaders and excavators. We kind of waited for the markets and things to pick up on it, and they're now available to rent. So if you've got a feedlot out in Malta and your loader's down, you want to try Doosan out, you're more than welcome to come rent one from us and just to get in and feel the experience.
Oh, man. Are they hard to learn how to operate, or do you guys kind of give them a crash course on how to handle it and everything?
Yeah, we can give them a crash course, but their operator ease is incredible. You can pick them up. Just if you rent a piece of equipment, you can run a Doosan loader.
Okay. Now, the thing about Berry Equipment and Rental, you've got 3 locations, and really you can serve all points of the Magic Valley. Twin Falls, Jerome, Burley, you've got it all, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've got customers from Bliss to American Falls.
Okay, and then...
yeah, we can get anywhere.
Now, also, I understand you told me one time, and Nick was talking to me about it, too, you got a great service department right there at the new Burley location, and some great mechanics.
We've got a certified technician there in Burley to work on all the stuff that we sell, so... Yeah, that service department in Burley's come a long way in the last couple of years.
What about the financing? Is 0% financing still in effect?
Yep, we've got 0 for 60 available for most things. Your standard Bobcat skid steer has a 0 for 48, so we got, and those are 0 down as well.
You know, Eli, give us a quick recap about some of the equipment items that people might not know that you have for rent and for sale at Berry Equipment and Rental. Just give us a rough drawing right there.
Yeah, well, we've got everything from a chainsaw, a Honda generator, up to a Doosan excavator. I mean, we cover the whole gamut. If you're in construction or even doing a small project at your house, we've probably got the tools you need. Okay, now, for those that are traveling around the valley right now and they're not sure where you're located, give us the exact sites of all 3 locations. So we're in Jerome behind the auction barn on South Lincoln. In Burley, we're next to McCain's on West Highway 30, and Twin Falls, we're close to the old hospital on Addison Avenue West. And I'm currently sitting on the highway up in Sun Valley, so
All right, well, listen, and if you want to know who Eli is, he's the only guy sitting on the highway up by Sun Valley with a cheese head on. God bless you, man. Go Pack Go, right?
Go Pack Go. Thank you, Zach.
All right, God bless you. See you later. Eli, Berry Equipment and Rental, and these are the best folks in the world to work with. Twin Falls, Jerome, and Burley. Really, really good. Once again, I want to mention I had a call come in, and the Golden Heritage Senior Center is going to have a breakfast this Saturday. I believe it starts at 7 a.m., and it's anything they cook over there at that Golden Heritage is absolutely delicious. You know, the biscuits and the gravy and the eggs and the bacon and all that kind of stuff. And it's only $5. $5. Oh, I know you'll fill your old tummy at that delicious breakfast right there at the Golden Heritage Senior Center coming up this Saturday. Don't miss it. Let's see, what else have I got here for this weekend? I don't think I've got anything else to mention. I'm going to send it over to our main studios and let Gina have it back. And in just a very few minutes, we're going to have an interesting professor from George Mason University Law School, Richard Kelsey, and we're going to be talking about our loss of freedom of speech. Don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh my, welcome back. We're on the home stretch this morning, and last half hour, Zeb at the Ranch, and kind of overcast, but really kind of cottony type clouds, sun peeking through on the snow a little bit, not too bad. Right now, I am very, very honored to have a gentleman back on this program that he's been on, I think, once or twice before, and I found him to be very interesting and outspoken, and I appreciate that. We have a gentleman that is the Assistant Dean at George Mason University School of Law, Professor Richard Kelsey. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am terrific. How are you?
Not too bad. You know, I remember our conversation the last time you were on, and I said I couldn't wait to have you back on the program. And I got to give you kudos, absolute kudos, to the piece that you wrote called Charlie Hebdo Attack, Another Reason to Protect Unpopular Speech. Give us a little background on why you wrote this and what you were trying to convey.
Well, I appreciate you, first and foremost, giving me the opportunity to have some free speech. Hopefully it won't be unpopular, but I will, I'll talk about the piece, and I'll tell you what inspired me a little bit about it.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we all know and recognize and hear speech that we can enjoy and like, popular speech about things that, 95 or 99% of us agree upon. And when we hear that, we're all gung-ho to talk about, well, this is great, free speech, God bless America. But really, America, as fabulous as she is fabulous because when people say things that make our blood boil, that's when we are tested about what we really feel about freedom and freedom of speech. Because it's real easy when I say popular things about our military or anything else to agree with me, but when you find someone that's going to say something that's going to make you crazy, that's when you have to check and see whether you believe in free speech that you agree with, or whether you agree and believe in free speech even if you don't agree with it. And that's a tough test for all of us, because let's face it, there are people out there every day who test the bounds of our tolerance for free speech by saying things that will make us crazy.
I would add to that, and I think I've been very guilty in my life as a talk show host sometimes to look at the other side and wonder where in the world did they check their brain into and forgot to go pick it up when they made that statement. But you're so right, because the free speech in this country, the stimulation of an action or a reaction to somebody's comments actually helps, I think, get something solved and or get something done. Would you agree with that?
I agree with it, and what I would say to people is think about it this way. Even if you regulated people's speech, you can't regulate their thoughts. So the notion that what they wanted to say is somehow going to go away. All you've done is taken unpopular speech and suppressed it, driven it underground, given it an opportunity to fester and get angry. We're better off hearing the dumb and the unpopular than we are sending it underground, because we need, as Americans, to know how people think, even if that thinking doesn't really square with what we might necessarily believe.
Yeah, Richard, I agree with everything you said, but there's a caveat there. I also believe that in the last, I don't want to just pin it on the Obama administration, but I'll say the last decade, we are seeing more of a regulated thought process being imposed upon the American public. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, I don't think there's any question, at least in my opinion or view, that, political correctness, the speech police, speech codes that we see at universities. Imagine, in the United States of America, having a university, right, which is supposed to, in theory, be the opportunity for the ultimate freedom of speech, popular or unpopular, dumb or brilliant, that some of these institutions believe that certain words and phrases shouldn't be heard by other people because somehow offensive speech doesn't elevate our democracy. You know what? Offensive speech sometimes elevates our democracy, and sometimes it needs to be heard. And so I'm concerned about people, and look, can I blame the Obama administration? I can, because they tend to be on that side of the left that believes that free speech is anything they say, but hate speech is anything that you say. And once we get into that, we then begin to regulate what is right and proper for people to hear. I'm all for civility. I'm all for, enlightened discussion. But it's not me. I shouldn't be the arbiter, and certainly Barack Obama shouldn't be the arbiter of what kind of speech you or I decide to engage in.
What is the temperature, I should say, in colleges and universities back on the East Coast? I know that even here in the state of Idaho at Boise State University, they had some problems with trying to establish and maintain and mandate free speech zones on campus. Has that been overtaking a lot of the college campuses back there?
Well, you see, a lot of times you see free speech zones, which I am not a big fan of. To me, the free speech zone is from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. That's my free speech zone. What you see sometimes on campuses, and we've actually seen it here at George Mason because President Obama has made more than one trip here. And a lot of times what you see is people who disagree with the president are then given a zone of free speech to protest, and that zone tends to be on the other side of the campus from where the president appears. And to me, that's nothing more than government regulation of who shall be heard and where they shall be heard, and what is acceptable. And that's a dangerous line to cross, and we see it more and more in a lot of institutions. Now, that doesn't mean that your free speech rights, and most people listening to your show certainly understand this, right? And the common example is no one has the right to stand up in a crowded theater and shout fire, right? Because there is a time, place, and manner restriction on speech that makes common sense. But when we regulate political speech, and we do so in a way to isolate those who speak up against the government or just speak up on an issue important to Americans, that's a dangerous area to get into. That should be the most deregulated industry we have, which is speech.
You made some excellent points in this latest writing, and I want to read this and have my audience understand it, and then I want you to respond to it. Victory goes to those who have failed to take a stand on the hardest and toughest issues of our time. It is no wonder that the popularity of politicians keeps falling while the popularity of talk radio keeps rising. That was an excellent statement. Explain that, please.
Well, look, I see this all the time. If you go out during the course of your life and you write on tough subjects, or you speak harshly on tough subjects, or you have the temerity to criticize people for either their conduct or their activities, what ultimately happens if you run for office is people take those little phrases and they try to turn you into somebody that you're not without having a bigger discussion. And so what we wind up having is people who only speak in these awful platitudes that don't take the types of tough positions. Imagine if Winston Churchill didn't call the Nazis and the Germans what they were. And by the way, he was calling them that long before anybody wanted him to be prime minister again, and they thought he was just a crazy old man. Imagine if Ronald Reagan hadn't stood up and called the communists what they were and talked about how we needed to defeat them. And a lot of people thought, well, gosh, this is just an old cowboy who doesn't understand the nuances of politics. But we see that now in all of our politicians. Everything is being crafted so that no one is insulted. And you know what? Sometimes you just have to be insulted, because sometimes people's conduct and the way they conduct themselves merits being insulted or being called out. And we don't see a lot of that. We don't see straight, plain talk from our politicians, which I think is why so many people loathe them. They can't stand to even listen to them speak in the platitudes that they do. When they turn on their radio and they listen to people like you, or they listen to, national talk show hosts, whoever they might be listening to, they hear people talking the way that they would talk with their neighbors about issues that they care about. And that's what they want. They want it out of their politicians, and they just can't get it.
You had another line in there that says the Constitution of the United States does not afford you a right not to be offended. Right there, that perked up my ears, and I thought to myself, we are living in such a PC age, and right now they're pushing us that don't want to be PC and really want to have free speech. Our boot heels are on the edge of the cliff. Are we beyond help, or is the liberal thought in this country going to push us over the edge?
No, we're going to win this battle, because at the end of the day, the great thing about free speech is that thoughtful, smart, intelligent, common sense speech always wins the day with the majority of Americans, even Americans who may not ultimately agree with the opinion. And so as long as we continue to speak up, we're not going to allow this kind of PC, touchy-feely world, political correctness, to rein in our most important liberty. People forget that freedom of speech is in the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights because it's the most important. It's number one because it's most important. Number two is your right in the Second Amendment to keep and bear arms. And the reason why number two follows up number one is because without the right to keep and bear arms, you and I don't have much of a right to speak. And it wasn't an accident that our founders put those rights 1 and 2. But speaking up is the key in life. And you know what? If people are offended, their just cause is to exercise their own free speech, not to suggest that you or I shouldn't speak at all.
Richard, right now, there is a definitive war going on between East philosophy and our Western mode of living, and let's just call it what it is. It could boil down to a religious war of the Muslims and Islam against the West and what they call the infidels. And it seems like this administration refuses to call what is going on by the names, whether it's a Muslim jihad or whether it's an Islamic terrorist act, whatever the case might be. Why? Why is this administration, more so than other previous administrations, so afraid to call it what it is?
Well, the answer is simple. This administration is the most ideological, left-leaning administration we have. We have literally true believers in the hard cause of the left, and you look at it in the way they have changed the language in so many different ways. I mean, let's put aside for the second that the president can't bring himself to talk about radical Islam, which, by the way, exists. We see proof of that every single day. He just refuses to use those words. Let's go back to how he decided to take an act of terror and convert it into something called workplace violence. So this is what this administration does. They want to use words and speech and language to change what we're really talking about when everyone plainly sees and understands what we're really talking about. And I think that's one of the many reasons why this president is profoundly unpopular with so many people in this country, and that is because he will not stand up and say what is right and true, and he's trying to find a way to be politically correct on issues that he doesn't have either the courage to address or doesn't want to address.
When you look at the overall situation with our free speech, and we look at the government trying to play the PC police, whether it's on this issue or whether it's on the gay, lesbian, and transgendered issue, whatever, you still say there's hope. What would you tell my audience that they need to do and how they can get involved to make sure that that Constitution is not altered, changed, or worst of all, trashed?
Well, they should do what my dad did for almost 7 decades before he passed away last year, and that is to speak up and be heard. He began writing letters when he was 18, and he was nearly 89 years old when he wrote his last. He wrote letters to the editor. He spoke about things that he cared about. He went to public meetings, and he spoke up. And by the way, he was a World War II Marine veteran. So, you know, when he went to a public meeting, he never sat around and wondered about what people thought about him or what he had to say. He got up and spoke the truth to the people he thought that needed to hear it. And he didn't give a damn, frankly, what they thought about him or his opinion. And that was the greatest generation, because those people were not afraid to stand up for principles in which they believed, and they didn't really much care that it hurt your feelings. You had the same equal right to stand up and hurt their feelings as well. I think that's the number one thing we can do. That's what and it's not what we can do, it's what we must do. When good people do nothing, those who are pushing a bad agenda are going to be the people who run the agenda. So good people have an obligation to speak up, whether it's at your church social, whether it's at your local town council meeting, whether it's a letter to your representative or the senator or the president, whether you use social media or not. Be heard. Don't be quiet, because the quiet people are going to find that those who, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Those who make the noise are going to run the agenda in this country, and this agenda in this country has to be based on freedom, liberty, and free speech.
Oh, man.
So the best advice I give to your listeners and to anyone willing to listen to me is to speak up, speak the plain truth, and don't ever be ashamed to speak on your principles.
Amen. Amen. Please come back in the future. Assistant Dean of George Mason University School of Law, Professor Richard Kelsey, you are always welcome here. Thank you, sir. God's blessings, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
You bet, sir. Very interesting man, and I appreciate his straightforwardness on free speech, and we all need to speak up and speak the truth. Okay? Oh my, time for the weather. And the weather is brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don Scarrow and the rest of his crew. Number to call, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats, locally owned custom meat processor, serving all of southern Idaho for over 20 years. The very best of beef, pork, lamb, processing of wild game. Oh yeah. They sell taste one bite at a time. Call them, 324-7657. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. Got some stuff coming up. When I mean stuff, I mean we got weather stuff coming up. That's for tomorrow. So what's going to happen today? And you still got that darn fog hanging around. It just won't go away. Partly sunny, 33 for the high. Winds are not going to be a problem. They're going to be out of the east northeast at about 9 miles an hour. Cloudy tonight, 27 for the low. Now the weather stuff. That'll take place tomorrow on Friday. Rain and snow. Just before lunchtime, 39 for the high. Yes, it's you're going to get some precip out of this, okay? And taper off Friday night. And Saturday, mostly sunny, and this is pretty nice. We haven't seen this all week, but we're looking for a high of 40, 43 on Sunday. How about that? Break out your T-shirts. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to everybody this hour by Scarrows Meats. Delicious. They guarantee everything they sell. You better believe it. And what they sell is delicious. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Calls are welcome, 436-2244-1866-927-4587. I want to get Gina back on here for a second. Are you there, Gina? Just for a couple of minutes?
Yep, I'm here.
We, earlier this morning, I was talking to you a little bit about those guys that climbed Yosemite's El Capitan. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
19 days. Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes, I would think, a rare breed of person One that I am not. First of all, to climb 3,000 feet into the air on a sheer rock face cliff, and secondarily, to nail into the side of that cliff a hanging tent and sleep like a baby at night. Could you?
No, honestly, I have seen pictures of those kind of tents, where you hook them up onto, the face of the cliff, and then you. No, I have a fear of heights anyway, and even just talking about it makes my feet feel funny. But to actually sleep in a tent on the side of a cliff, and basically there's nothing under you except for a little bit of fabric, and then the ground like hundreds and hundreds of feet down there? No, couldn't do it.
One simple question that I have with inquiring minds that want to know, this would definitely not be a hobby for a sleepwalker.
No. That would be a bad deal for a sleepwalker. You might want to have to, what would you have to do? You would have to, padlock the zipper to the tent.
Well, I'm sitting here, and we touched on this last couple of hours ago, but you're laying in the tent, and all of a sudden there's an urge that you have to get up and use maybe the facilities. Ain't gonna happen 3,000 feet on the side of a cliff.
And as we were saying before, don't look up.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, okay, well, maybe it's a good thing they called.
Probably so.
Okay, caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey there.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah, on that deal with the hanging tents and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call me Chad if you want, but I would say heck no.
Okay.
I would never do anything like that. I have extreme acrophobia, and I couldn't do it. I have an extreme fear of heights.
Well, that would be the ultimate right there as far as I'm concerned. And I appreciate what you're saying because, to my knowledge, they pulled themselves up on the side of El Capitan by just using their feet and their hands and not relying on ropes, pulleys, or anything else. And 3,000 feet, 19 days later, they made it to the crest.
You won't even get me into a plane, man, because I can't stand heights.
All right. Well, Rodney, we appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Thank you. But the meals and the water and the taking a break. I mean, you are not going to just say, hey, Bert, I'm going to go kick back in my geezer chair for about 30 minutes. Ain't got one. What do you do? I mean, where do you rest? And do you trust the other guy you're climbing with to pound the pin in to hold that tent above the ground at maybe 2,000 feet? Not me. I don't know how you do that. Do you have any pictures of that on your computer over in...
I could Google it real quick. I don't have any on... Just even talking about this, it's weird. It makes my feet feel funny because my feet like to be on the ground.
Oh, I can't handle this at all.
It's kind of like, walking over... Have you ever, been over a bridge where it's just like that metal grate?
Yes.
That drives me nuts. Dorshak Dam, prime example. There's a walkway that you can walk over, and it's grated. And so you can see, the water hundreds of feet below. And every time I walk over that, it always makes my feet feel funny. It makes my feet ache.
I can give you one worse than that, and then we'll take that call. Is the bridge between, what is it? Not Fort Hood, but Hood River, over to Washington. That bridge that's only 2-lane, and it's one of those see-throughs with the big holes. Oh.
Yeah, there's certain kinds of bridges and things that but even to sleep in a tent that's hooked to a cliff, it ain't happening.
No way. Nope. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know what would really concern me on that? I've been on the mountains a few times.
The
wind comes up. The wind goes around those cliffs.
Oh, yeah.
What do they do if they start whipping that tent around?
Oh, my gosh. You look like one of those kids that play with the tops, and they push the top in, and it starts spinning.
No, thank you.
Oh, I'm telling you, these guys deserve all the accolades they get. Well, first of all, they're crazy. Thanks for calling this morning. I never thought about that. That wind whipping that. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. In that tent, all of a sudden, about 1 o'clock in the morning, woo! And away we go. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Jeff. Do you remember the Singing Bridge?
Oh, yeah.
That was an interesting bridge to go across, and also the one over at Black Gorge, the walking bridge you can walk across.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. If there's any police listening right now, you have all the rights to sit on the other side of any bridge that you see me coming across and arrest me for speeding, because I will tell you this. If the speed limit is 35, I'm going to be going 90. If it's 55, I'm going to be going 110. I am afraid of bridges.
I'm not afraid of heights. There's one thing that gets me is ladders. Every time I climb up a ladder, I fall over, it seems like. So I don't do a ladder. I'll climb up on a bucket truck and go clear to the top, or climb a tree or rock. Don't bother me, but you get me on a ladder a few feet off the ground, and I'm just one of them steady fellers.
All right. Well, listen, no El Capitan for you. Thanks, sir. Got to run. Thanks. Yeah. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And again, serving is the key word. You better believe it. Oh, you heard the weather forecast. Going to get a little yucky. Well, make sure you got your traction tires. They've got them traction tires, and the tires pinned for studs. And they got all the tire chains for you. You're not going to get stuck. Not if you stop in and see our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And check out, too, all the front-end alignments and the shocks and the struts. And don't forget the brake service. Holy cow, they've got the greatest brake value promise in the industry. Professionally trained technicians serving you. And the best in batteries, too. All of this and more with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I got 30 seconds, real fast.
Hey, Ed, you say you're scared of bridges and all. What about overpasses? You scared of them, too?
What was that again?
You scared of overpasses, too? Because they're a bridge, too.
I don't like anything that elevates me above the ground. I'm not a big fan of it at all. But you put me on a bridge like that one from Hood River over to Washington, and you're going to have to buy a case of deodorant for me.
Well, there's a bridge over the Grand Canyon where Hoover Dam is that you would never want to go across. Then.
All right, sir.
It's far above the Hoover Dam.
All right, I've been there. I know what you mean. God bless you. I got to run. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, had a good week. Had a fun week. Had a lot of great people on. We'll see you back here next Monday at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch right here on KBAR 1230 and streaming live all over the world. ZebBell.com. The way things were, the way things ought to be. Bye, Gina Gray. Week. See you then next Monday.